Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to the newest episode or the newest video murder video. Um, so in this episode, I'm going to be discussing what I think is the main, uh, the driving what I think of the driving forces in the X-Men franchise between Charles Xavier and his friend Eric Lensher, aka Magneto. But before we do, intro transition noises. There we go. And I'm gonna have to do it again. Intro transition noises. There you go. Anyway, so um, this really came. This subject really came about. When me and Nathan were watching X-Men '97. Hopefully the first season, or hopefully it's just the first season of that. Anyway, um, what I wanted to talk about is I am not focused. Come on. What I want to talk about is really what I think the major issue of the franchises or the X-Men franchise, and really its two main driving forces for for the conflict are Magneto and Professor Xavier themselves, um, and it's a matter of analysis versus the execution. Um, so, in X-Men really '97, there's a scene in X-Men '97 where it really just codifies it really well, and I think you should watch it. I think it's in episode 2, and many of you will find it figure it out as I describe it later on. But as I said, the main force is analysis versus execution. Of we have this analysis, and then we have to execute based on that analysis. So the analysis that they both come to, they come to really the two different analyses or conclusions in their analysis. So Professor X looks out at humanity, knows he's the next step in evolution in the Marvel universe, in the X-Men universe. Knows he's the next step, but also sees good in humanity and like normal humans, and thinks that humans and mutants can coexist together. So he sees the good in humanity, whereas on the other hand, Magneto, after surviving some horrific events in his childhood, like witnessing his family die, and surviving, I think he survived the Holocaust if I remember right, only sees the evil in humanity, and thus does not see any chance for humans and mutants to coexist, because all he sees is humans killing his people. So, as they go on, they become friends. They have a shared dream. Like X-Men '97 they have a shared dream of where humans and mutants. Well, I think the shared part of their dream is where mutants can live peacefully on Earth, and whether that's with humans or not is up to humans. So they both also, I think, execute their analysis. Well, the execution is where it comes, you know. And yes, I know the pun is there. So the execution is really where they differ. I mean, they differ in terms of analysis as well, but the execution is where they differ, and it's where it actually gets put into practice. Xavier uh, invests his family fortune into a school for these for mutants to teach them how to control their powers and how to peacefully coexist with humanity. He also forms the X-Men, who deal with mutant threats as well as others, including Magneto himself. Um, and the X-Men just continue doing uh, what Xavier what Xavier basically kind of not really commands them to do. They follow his lead, and he leads them to try to peacefully coexist. Magneto, on the hand, forms. Oh, I can't remember the group name. I think it's the Brotherhood of Mutants, if I remember right. Someone can fact check me in the comments if I'm wrong. But either way, Magneto goes on to form his own group, and it's all about mutant well-being and mutant protecting mutants. And Magneto essentially becomes a terrorist. Um, and whenever mutants are in danger, Magneto shows up and just basically lays waste with his group. They lay waste to the humans, endangering mutants because of their own views. The humans' views. But anyway, it's just this matter of how they execute their, how they act based on their conclusions about humanity, and it's really different to see them act out in the way that they do because of their past and because of what they believe about non-mutated humans. Anyway, um, what I really wanted to talk about is, and I'm trying not to make this a long video, but what I really want to talk about is the X-Men '97. This show is beautifully animated, y'all. The story is actually written fairly well. Y'all should go watch it. It's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Go watch X-Men '97 and discover the story for yourself, or watch the story for yourself instead of uh, my so-so description of it. Let's go with that. But fairly early on, I'm gonna spoil like the early game of X-Men '97 for you. So pause the video, go watch X-Men '97, come back, watch the rest of this video. So in X-Men '97, it basically picks up where the '90s X-Men TV show left off, with Professor X being dead, and basically the X-Men and Xavier's school kind of reeling from this. So, and what ends up happening is in his will, Xavier leaves the school and his fortune to Magneto. Basically, in Magneto's own words, challenging Magneto to be better, to be held to a higher standard of more than just maniacal fanaticism and just blind lashing out. So it's revealed that Magneto owns everything now, and also right after that, the UN comes to arrest him, and he gladly gives up, or he willingly gives himself up to earn faith and favor with the people that Professor X has been trying to set over the years. And it's during this trial that I really want to focus on Magneto's speech in this trial, where I think he has an objectively right analysis of humanity and how evil they really can be. So during the trial, some mutant detractors end up getting in with a specialized weapon to cancel out mutant powers. Well, okay, before that, while they're doing that, Magneto is going on this speech about how, like, basically the UN and all the nations, all these normal people, all these unmutated people, are wronging mutants by building the Sentinels, basically robots designed to hunt mutants, building the suppression collars, the collars that you see them wear that suppress their powers, and hunting down mutants and putting these collars on them and beating them and doing other things to them along the way. And he just goes on this speech about how there's the UN Council wants justice done, and he's also wants justice done, but their view of justice might be, the two views of justice might be different. Anyway, one of these mutant detractors gets in with a specialized weapon that, basically, the show tells us, cancels out mutant powers permanently, and they have to use a specialized machine to get their powers back, along with dealing with some other things. But anyway, so Storm ends up getting hit with this weapon, standing in for Magneto, and this is where Magneto kind of ramps up his speech, because after the first part of his speech, he's released to help protect the judges, and doing what he needs to do to really make himself look good and to really prove to people that he's actually trying to do what Xavier challenged him to do, trying to be a better person. And this mutant detractor aims for him, shoots at him, and it hits Storm, and Magneto gets pissed. Wow, he gets really mad. He really does get really mad, and he turns to the judges and then just like look and basically points at Storm. Is like, look at what you really want. This is what you really want. The X-Men have done nothing but protect you with their powers, and this is their reward. And he then lifts the judges along with the perpetrator up into space, and basically says, Xavier challenged me to be better. I am trying to be better. Y'all are making it really hard. And that just codifies, while him and Xavier disagree on the methods of achieving their dream, they both still want the same dream of a peaceful planet, a peaceful world where humanity can exist. Magneto says, admit that this is a shared world between us. And then the rest of the story happens, and I'm gonna let y'all discover that for yourselves, because it's a really good story the way it ends. And Professor X makes a point. Okay, I said I wasn't going to spoil it, but I'm going to do one. I don't know if this is a minor or a major spoiler. Nathan, how would you classify this spoiler?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. one more spoiler. So again, if you didn't pay attention to the prior spoiler warning, another spoiler warning right here. Go pause, go watch the show, come back. But it is revealed that Professor X is indeed alive, and he comes back and
That's a huge spoiler.
that's why I said spoiler warning, dum dum. Because I figured it was. But anyway, Nathan interjects when he wants to.
Yeah.
But anyway, and in a conversation with the president of the United States, I think, and he says Xavier is only acting based on is only acting out because you guys have proven to him over and over again that you guys cannot share this world. It's really that's where really their point is. That's where they really like come back together is or come together in the first place is they Xavier understands that humanity keeps failing and over again and proving to Magneto why he's right. And Magneto understands that Xavier just sees the potential of humanity and he's just trying to act upon that. It's really an amazing thing. Now, onto something a little bit more. Onto a little bit more of like external analysis, not dealing with the characters at all. How do we as Christians, go through, interact with this stuff? First of all, I'm going to say this. I want to do a podcast where we deep dive into, the X-Men specifically and other, like we've already talked about how we interact with entertainment. It's all discernment, really. But I want to do another episode about that, about discernment in general. But, excuse me, dinner's coming back. Dang it. Anyway.
That was good the second time.
I know. But, how do we as Christians interact with a story like this of humanity constantly failing, but seeing the potential in humanity? This is really, going to asking the question of. I think I can relate this question to this is the question of why God created us, because I can say semi-confidently that God sees a lot of potential in humanity, like Xavier sees in normal humans, but He's also just, so He also must act upon our constant failings. So, I think this kind of personifies, for me at least, this kind of personifies two aspects of God's character of seeing an immense potential in something, but also acting upon failure when it is so blatantly continued and so blatantly just steeped in. That's my take on the whole conflict between Xavier and Magneto. Is that they're two halves of one whole. One can only see the constant failings of humanity, and the other can only see the immense potential. And that's why it's so good, like in the comics and later on in like other mediums that the X-Men have appeared in, when they meet together and like reconcile and are like, okay, either humanity has failed us for the last time, or humanity has potential. Let's find a way to fix that potential. and use it for the benefit of the entire world and not just one particular population. Um, I keep forgetting to put the Patreon in the description, guys. I'm sorry. But the Patreon is linked on other videos on the channel if you would like to go there and find it and subscribe to us. If you like this video, subscribe. And, I can't do calls to action very good. If you like this video, give it a like. If you would like to see more from the Kingsmith podcast and more nerd herds and or other content, give us a subscribe. Now, one more transition noise here.